Hi, my name is Allison Robinson, and I am the speech pathologist for Oklahoma Able Tech. This video is going to cover funding assistive technology for infants and toddlers in Oklahoma when SoonerStart is the payer. This video is one of several installments with the goal of informing the public on funding options for infants and toddlers in Oklahoma. In this segment, viewers will learn about SoonerStart Early Intervention Services and its role in providing assistive technology, devices, and services for infants and toddlers. Let's start with answering the question, what is SoonerStart? Oklahoma SoonerStart Early Intervention builds upon and provides supports and resources to assist family members and caregivers to enhance children's learning and development through everyday learning opportunities. Qualified personnel such as child development specialists, nurses, occupational therapists, physical therapists, registered dietitians, social workers, special education teachers, speech-language pathologists, and others provide SoonerStart services. Children birth to 3 who are participating in the SoonerStart Early Intervention Program are eligible to receive assistive technology devices and services from SoonerStart when funds are not available from other sources or when their provision cannot be obtained in a timely manner. So what are assistive technology, or AT, devices and services? An AT device is a piece of equipment that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities of children with disabilities. AT may be purchased commercially or customized, homemade, or be an item that has been repurposed, like a bath towel that is rolled up and put beside a child in his high chair to improve his positioning. AT is also a service that directly assists children with a disability in the selection, acquisition, or use of an AT device. Evaluating for and demonstrating the use of AT, as well as providing training, technical assistance, etc., would all be considered AT services. All infants or toddlers with disabilities are not required to receive AT devices and services. The need for AT devices and services must be determined on an individual basis by the Individualized Family Service Plan, or IFSP, team. The IFSP team must consider all services that are necessary for the child to achieve his or her outcomes and to allow participation in daily activities and routines in the natural environment, including AT devices and services. IFSP teams should consider AT devices and services for children who are unable to perform activities, including communication exchanges, that typical peers can. AT devices and services may be warranted if the inability to perform these skills is preventing participation in activities and routines. There is a significant difference between AT consideration and AT assessment. Once the team considers an AT device for a child and it is determined that he or she may benefit from AT, the child's IFSP team begins an ongoing process of assessment, which takes place over a period of time and includes observations within the child and family's typical activities and routines involving all relevant team members. It includes a focus on the child's strengths and needs, and it also includes matching features of devices to the child's strengths and needs. AT devices and/or services are necessary if the child needs them to benefit from daily routines in their natural environment and/or to achieve outcomes on the IFSP. The IFSP team should consider a child's assistive technology needs for each outcome listed on the IFSP. Since SoonerStart is a payer of last resort, the IFSP team needs to first identify all possible resources to cover the cost of the recommended AT devices and services. Some additional AT funding sources include Medicaid, SSI Disabled Children's Program, private pay, private insurance, and the Oklahoma Durable Medical Equipment Reuse Program, or OCDMR, to name a few. Also, a combination of any of the above or some other creative sources can be used that result in the provision of AT devices and/or services. If the team is unable to access funding for AT devices and/or services in a timely manner, then SoonerStart resources can be utilized. To access funding through SoonerStart, the team must submit the SoonerStart Assistive Technology request to the Executive Director of SoonerStart Early Intervention Special Education Services at the Oklahoma State Department of Education. That form can be obtained from the Oklahoma State Department of Education website, ok.gov/SDE/SoonerStart. Once the form is received, the Executive Director reviews the documentation of the team's AT assessment, the need for assistive technology to support the child's outcome or outcomes, a letter of medical necessity or a letter of justification, and the attempts to access other funding sources. The Executive Director will do this within 10 working days. The documentation review is to ensure that the IFSP team has provided adequate information regarding assessment and how it relates to the child's IFSP outcomes, and all attempts at seeking other appropriate funding sources. The SoonerStart team will be contacted within 10 working days to request more information or documentation if necessary, or to inform the team that the reviewed documentation is complete. Once the documentation has been reviewed and determined complete, acquisition of the equipment is coordinated through the SoonerStart program and provided to the family in a timely manner. In some circumstances, families may offer to donate AT equipment to SoonerStart that is no longer being used by their child. All donations are subject to the Oklahoma State Department of Education's Donation Solicitation and Acceptance Policy, which can be viewed at ok.gov/SDE/sponsorship donation. In other instances, AT may need to transition with the child into the school system. If it is determined that the AT used in early intervention needs to transition with the child, the entities involved, for example, the parent, SoonerStart, the school or local education agency, etc., need to sign an agreement for the purchase, sale, or statement declining the sale of AT devices, which can be viewed at ok.gov/SDE/assistive-technology in the appendix of the AT Technical Assistance Guide. For more information about the SoonerStart Early Intervention Program and the contact information for SoonerStart sites statewide, go to the Oklahoma State Department of Education website, ok.gov/SDE/SoonerStart. If you have additional questions about how Oklahoma Able Tech can help you access and acquire assistive technology, please don't hesitate to call us at 800-257-1705. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to hearing from you.